All right, this is part 4 and hopefully the last part. But I don't know why yesterday I just couldn't get out what I was trying to say. But what I was trying to say is that, by the way, I remembered the college is Truman College, and that's where I took my GED classes. In these classes, you have GED teachers. They teach you what you're supposed to know to get prepared for the test. Um, and you can spend like I don't I think I can't remember if the test itself you had to pay for. I can't remember if you had to pay for the classes too. Probably or probably not. It was like this was like um I think I passed. I think I started taking classes. It was over a decade ago, so I can't really remember. Um, I guess like if you want to, like if you yourself are taking the want to take the GED and you want to like know that information, I just highly encourage you look it up because it's been a long time for me, and I don't know if anything's changed since then. Um, but I think when I did, by the way, I'm just like talking while I'm taking down my braid, as I did like this huge loose braid last night, and it just looked, no spiders on my phone, please. But it looked like really good and really cute. So I want to do that again because again, it's going to be like 90 degrees out today. So it's going to be another hot one. I want to keep my hair up as much as possible, at least for today. Um, Sometimes like I might take it down just because I just like to feel it blowing in the wind and stuff. Anyways, I'm going to be doing that while I'm talking. It's like taking it down, just putting it back up in a loose braid for today. But yeah, like I I spent like several weeks, maybe even several months on not just the math portion, but just every studying and preparing for every portion of the GED, just to make sure that I was ready for everything, not just one thing. I just wanted to be like completely and totally prepared, and I wanted to know what to expect because I've never taken a GED test before, so I wanted to know what to expect for like all portions, because I didn't know if it was going to be just like a regular test or if there was something I should pay attention to. But yeah, so now I did also have a GED instructor, not just at Truman, but after I left home, I stopped taking classes at Truman because I couldn't get back and forth between there. And like I said, I don't think they gave anybody bus passes at the shelter. So like without any means of transportation, I could not go back and forth to Truman and to Pacific Art Mission to take my classes. So I had to do something. So thankfully the shelter had their own GED instructor. Excuse me. And he was teaching me and like some other people, but I don't really remember like I don't really remember if he just taught me, like if it was one-on-one instruction or if it was just like a group thing. But he was the GED instructor that they hired. So you know what, I'm just gonna not do that. I'm just gonna just braid it back up. But so yeah, like he was good too. Like I thought he was a good instructor. He was cool, and I thought like if I could have paid him at the time, even though like it was. Oh, and by the way, like the instruction there, I don't know about at Truman, but at the mission, it was free. Like he didn't charge, of course, because we're all homeless taking GED courses, so he didn't charge for his time, for his services, and the shelter didn't charge us either. But if I could have paid at that time, I definitely would have paid him for his time because he was like a decent instructor, and I felt like I got what I needed to get out of it while he was teaching. Now, the sad thing that happened, and I'm not super clear, it was never told, like, it was, they didn't really tell me what happened to this instructor, but he did eventually leave. I heard like some rumors about him having drinking problems, and like he showed up to work drunk and stuff, and like I guess he did that so many times eventually they let him go. But I like, I don't know, maybe he was just like super good at hiding it, because while he taught me, I never noticed anything out of the ordinary. I never like and I would have definitely known if he was intoxicated while teaching me. And like I said, maybe he was just super good at it, but I never noticed that he was drunk while he was teaching me. So I don't know, but it was unfortunate, like for everybody involved. And I was stuck without a GED instructor, because like I said, I was no longer taking classes at the college, and now they fired him, and so now like the show must go on, I guess. You know me, like I'll find a way. I'll find a way. So that's what I did. I think that they eventually hired a new instructor. I think so. But at the time, because I couldn't wait, like, I didn't know how long I didn't know what was going to happen. I don't know how long it was going to be, if they were going to find a new person. So in the meantime, without missing a beat, I continued studying on my own. Maybe I should back up, because I still need to explain to you guys how this program is run. When you get into the program, you are assigned a specific duty, like a specific job. You can't just be up there and just doing whatever, or just not doing anything. I'm not sure if they allowed you to have your own job while you were there. I know that I don't think anybody in the program did have their own job while we were there. I certainly didn't have a job. And especially since they were for the work that they had us do there, they did pay us well below the minimum wage, but they paid us $200 every 2 weeks as a stipend. So they were paying us, but like I said, it's just for the type of work that we were doing, or at least for what I was doing, I felt like I could have been paid a lot more than that for they put me through, what I was going through. But $200 every 2 weeks, hey, I'll take it. I'm not getting anything, so I'll definitely take that. I don't know if I should stand up for this part. I'm gonna stand up just to let you guys know. I'm gonna still talk too, just to let you guys know, you guys know how long my hair is, but just yeah. Oh, it's looking okay. But yeah, so they paid us $200 every 2 weeks, and that was it pretty much. It's just easier to stand up anyways. It's not easier braiding in my lap and everything. But so yeah, the work that they had us do, at first I'm just speaking for me. I'm kind of familiar about what other people had their duties were, but just speaking for me, they first had me work, as they called it, it's like a cleaning crew, but they had I think they called it work shift, not work shift, maybe, forgot the name, but basically you were just had to clean the floor, the whole floor, not the whole floor, but certain specific areas on the floor. Like maybe you had to do like the women's dorm, or maybe you had to do like the program dorm, or you had to do like the hallways. Like there were different areas that like you had to clean. So that was just for like that specific job, and that's what they had me do at first when I first joined the program. Okay, I think that's good. Just my ends look kind of thin, and it's kind of annoying. Like I like all of this to be like the same. I like my braid to be the same size throughout. I don't like to be thin at the bottom and then thicker at the top. I like it to be consistent, but that's okay, because it's not going to matter in a few days anyways, because I'm going to have it braided again. But yeah, so hold on, I'm gonna sit back down a second so you can hear me better. All right. Just want to like pull this out a little bit, just so it's not too thin, just a tiny bit. All right, it's a little better. All right, there we go. Okay, so yeah, all right, that's a little better. While I was they first had me on like cleaning stuff, and so yeah, and I did that for like, that's probably the shortest job that I had while I was there. The longest job they had me working was, I'm glad my voice is getting better too, because while I was like coughing and everything, my voice is like almost gone, so I'm glad it's almost back. And it's not too noisy this morning either. Anyways, like the majority of the time I was there, they had me working security, and they had me working third shift. Now, working third shifts can go either one of two ways. You can work either like, let's say 3 to 11, like a regular 8-hour night shift, or they can have you working overnights, like 11 to 7, or like, until morning time. So like it depends on like, which hours they put you on. So I unfortunately was put on overnights. They didn't have like it was like a 24/7 shelter, so like they didn't have like just 3 shifts, like 3 to 11, and then like that's it. They had like an overnight shift, so they had a first, second, third shift, and the third shift was like all night. So that's what they had me doing majority of the time I was there. Like I said, I was there about 2 years. And so for the majority of those 2 years, they had me working all night security on the women's side. So it was interesting to say the least. Very interesting. I had never even had like a real job, let alone like working security. It's just like I was pretty much felt like I was thrown into this without any training or anything like that. And just another one of the many problems that I had at this place is just the way they went about things wasn't really like professional or like standard at some times, or maybe I could say even at most times. But let me go back to what I was doing first. So I was working days when I was first put into the Bible program. Like I was cleaning during the day. I wasn't cleaning at night. So it was still tough work, because I again, like beforehand, I had not had any like training in any of this stuff. Like, you're supposed to have like at least some sort of training. Like, they showed me what to do, like what needs to be done, but like that was pretty much it. Like, they showed me what to do, I was on my own. So okay, like I know how to. Oh, at that time, I never liked. I didn't know how to use a mop bucket. I did not know. I know how to sweep. Like, who doesn't know how to sweep? Like, that's pretty straightforward. You get a dustpan, you get like a broom, and you sweep the dust and dirt into the broom. Empty that's the tray, the pail. That's it. As far as mopping, I didn't know how to combine the solutions. I didn't know what cleaning solutions to use. I didn't know how to use a mop or a mop bucket. I didn't know how to wring it out properly. I didn't know how to detach the mop from the handle, all that stuff. And I didn't know that you were supposed to clean the mop part, you know, with this I didn't know you were supposed to clean like the mop. So they taught me all of that. And by the way, like, these were very useful life skills because, you know, as I moved into my own place, I definitely utilized most, if not all, those skills that I learned first at that shelter. I didn't learn that at home because pretty much everything was like done for me, I guess. Like, I didn't have like regular chores like a kid, like most kids do. So I was never taught how to do that, like clean for myself and everything, outside of like, you know, cleaning my dishes and like cleaning my room up a little bit. But I didn't know how to, you know, do all of that. And I should have known how to do that at my grown age, but I did not. So at least I learned, you know, better late than never, you know. Anyways, so yeah, after that, I did laundry. That was my second job they had me do there, was laundry. So they took me out of cleaning. My job for laundry, again, it was during the day. The thing is, like, there was so much laundry. Like, you think you're done after a few hours, and then, like, the overnight guests, like, they bring the laundry down. They volunteer to, like, bring the laundry down. The program people don't do that because we wash their laundry. And by their laundry, I don't mean like I said, this shelter doesn't wash like clothes or anything. By laundry, I mean linen. That's it. Like bedding, linen, that's it. Pajamas, their pajamas that they wear at night that we set out for them to wear. Linen, blankets, all of that. I don't think we washed the pillows, at least not while I was doing laundry. By the way, laundry was like the second longest job that I had there. The work crew, I think that's what we were called, was work crew. Like the clean everything, work crew. That was like for a little bit. Laundry was like a little longer. And then third shift security is what I did the longest time, for the longest time while I was there. But for laundry, it went until morning and all the way until, guys, I was there. I remember one time, or maybe a couple times, it wasn't like regular. I had like a good supervisor and she worked with me, but it was pretty much just like us two, maybe a third person doing all of that laundry for hundreds and hundreds of women. I would be into like, oh gosh, definitely into the afternoon. Like, I felt like this is way longer than 8 hours. It definitely was not like an 8-hour shift. It went way longer than 8 hours. That's what I was saying. Like, for what they were paying me, compared to the back-breaking work that I was doing at the shelter most times, it just like was not adding up, just for me. But so yeah, it was a lot of laundry, and I remember like being there until like I mentioned like a little while back, we had to do like praise and testimony, and like it was required. So that went until like 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. So yeah, we had to do that, and I would be there stuck doing laundry until that time. Like I said, it was just like a couple times I can remember. Most of the time, if I got help, which at most of the time I did. But guys, sometimes because I was so good at my job, whatever I was doing, I was able to adapt quickly, learn quickly, and as long as I had like supportive people working with me, I was able to most of the time do the stuff by myself. Um, so, you know, I kind of felt bad sometimes for my supervisor because she was like an older woman and she just moved around a lot slower than I did, and she was nice too. She wasn't too like strict or mean or anything, but she ran things very well and efficiently. She ran that laundry room very well. Um, and I would just feel bad a lot of times. So I'll be like, just sit down, take a break or whatever. Like, I can do this. Um, Even though, like, I kind of regretted saying that sometimes because it would put me behind, because no matter how good I was moving, like, I'm still one person, all this laundry coming in. So maybe I should have just waited until we were like at least at least like halfway done or more than halfway done, until I would have said that. But yeah, I would be there probably until like 6 in the evening. Like, let's say I started early in the morning. I don't know how early, but it was pretty early. What was it, 6 or 6 did I got up to do laundry? It was early. And I was there like for most of the day. Anyway, yeah. So the overnight guests, they brought laundry down from upstairs. They brought it to the basement. I wore gloves because I'm touching dirty laundry. Like, we all wore gloves. Some people, they did not wear gloves. I guess they thought they could just wash their hands afterwards. And I mean, I guess you can. But as long as you're not like touching yourself or not touching your face or anything, would be even worse. Because there were times that I would touch something. I didn't have gloves on like all the time that I was doing this. Sometimes I would touch something without gloves. Now I would just like pick it up with my fingers. But if I would do that, like, and I would just like not, I don't know, but sometimes I would just get like itchy and stuff or kind of break out a little bit. So yeah, it's important to, like, if you're washing other people's stuff and you don't, like, if they might have like a condition, you don't know what somebody has. So even though everything, like, by the way, everything is washed in bleach, in addition to like the soap. So everything is washed in bleach. So and everything with stains in them, like blood stains, like if they had like bodily fluids, like that was like washed out pretty much in the laundry. But other than that, like, I wore gloves like the whole time that I was washing laundry down there. But yeah, they come down with all these bags of clothes and like it piles up quickly. But we had to take everything out quickly, throw it right in the washing machine. But so yeah, we had to wash it like in the washing, and the bleach is like already like added in there like as we're watching. So yeah, it's already added while we're watching. And so, we're just shoveling this stuff into the washing machines and just trying to do it as quickly as possible. So we're not there for like as long as possible. So yeah, like we're washing and washing, and that's pretty much all we're doing. Like if we if all the like washers are full, we'll just like sit there and just like read a book or I wish I had some water. I wish I had some water, but I don't have any water. Or else I would just take a sip. But if we had some downtime, at that time I did not have a smartphone. I don't think I had any phone at all. So as far as like a source of entertainment, and by that time smartphones had only been out like a couple of years, so they don't have the smartphones that we have now. Like I said, this was 2015. I think smartphones came out like 2010. I think 2010. I don't know. I wasn't like keeping track of the latest technology at that time because I was going through a lot of other things in my life. But smartphones at that time were just like a few years old. I did not have one myself at that time. So as far as entertainment, like, I don't know. I guess I just like didn't really have a form of entertainment. So I don't know. I think what I did while I was waiting for laundry is I just like separated everything. Because everything, I think they had to be separated. Like, did they have to be separated? Yeah, I think the towels, the pajamas, the linen, I think they had to be separated when we washed them. To me, like, it didn't really make a difference because all of it was getting cleaned and washed anyway. But I think my supervisor had us like separate everything into specific, I can't really remember. But while I was waiting for the washers, I was always on my feet. Like, I rarely like sat down. You'll rarely see me like sitting down. While I was waiting for a washer to become unoccupied, I was over in the rummaging in the bags, like separating everything so that would be ready to throw into the next available washer. And ever since everything is like industrial size and shelters pretty much, but still, like, it's just a ton of stuff, and we're constantly getting new donations and everything. So yeah. So that was definitely harder than like the laundry was definitely harder than work crew. It was all had its like varying levels of difficulty, but by far I would say that laundry was the hardest thing that I did at that shelter, above security, and which had its own separate challenges that I'll go into later. But above security, above work crew, laundry was like the most difficult, challenging job that I had while I was there, as you can probably understand. But so I'm just gonna like skip ahead because that's pretty much all there was to it. Like, is doing laundry and that's it. Like, it's pretty straightforward and easy. Like, if you do your own laundry, like, it's just that. Only like you're doing it for like several hundred more people. It's not just you're doing it for like a ton of more people. So like that's the only difference. But yeah, like that's the only difference. And so everything else is like pretty much the same. If you were doing it,
like in about a couple hours, we're gonna be pressure washing this.
Okay.
So just want to let you know in a couple hours. I'll let you know.
Okay. Like the ground, like the ground.
Whole plaza we're doing.
Okay, that's fine.
And you'll see us once we start setting up. That means we're getting ready.
All right. Thanks for letting me know. And sorry about that. But yeah. So we had to just like. Where was I at? Oh, we just had, yeah, so that was laundry. They were letting me know, like, they're going to have to, like, pressure wash this area. So I'll be, like, done way before they do that. They said it's in a couple hours. But, yeah. So let me move on from laundry. So security, like I said, that was my last job while I was there. That's like the longest job I had there. So moving on from laundry, because eventually like they took me off of laundry. And by the way, there's a schedule too. They post the schedule like on our door. And so like you're responsible for looking at the schedule. They don't let you know like, hey, we took you off of this. And by the way, it's another thing that I did not like. They would just on a whim just decide to take you off and then like put you on. Like they did that to me like several times. I remember they like put me on nights when I was scheduled to work like during the day, and they just did it like that. And like I said, like they don't tell you these changes. They don't tell you anything. You're responsible for looking out that at the schedule. And the thing is, like, I'm not looking at the schedule like 24/7. Like I'm not checking that frequently. At least if I'm doing something for that day, they could just leave it for that day. If they want to change it for the next day, then I'll like look at the next day. But like I'm not looking that frequently at the schedule. I'm not just like going back and forth like hundreds of times a day. That's just like that's not realistic. That's not like, it's not how things are supposed to go. But like again, it's at a shelter, so things are pretty much run how they run. But so yeah, so they took me off of laundry, put me on security. Now security, this was where things definitely get interesting. And this is where I met, like, I was mostly contained still within the Bible program while I was doing those other two jobs, laundry and work crew. We were mostly contained either in the basement, still working with like fellow Bible program members, or we're work crew. I was upstairs still on the Bible program floor. The overnight guests were mostly downstairs. So security is when I was moved pretty much downstairs to work with the overnight guests. That's where I got more familiar with them, because before then I was like not really interacting with them, or again with like pretty much anybody, but not with the overnight guests. Since I stopped being an overnight guest myself, like I didn't really have a reason to interact anymore with them. So until they put me on security. So they put me on security. Like I said, this won't be in like strict chronological order, but basically the job duties for like security was, like I said, they did not train me, or I don't think anybody else. They didn't train me like you're supposed to be this is how it's supposed to go. You're supposed to like be professionally trained to do this stuff. Like you can't just throw somebody into this. Like you have to be like, that's how else I don't know how else to put it. Like you have to be trained for this stuff. You have to be a licensed. I should be like training me to be like a licensed security if that's what you want me to do. So I did not want to do this. I remember having this conversation when they wanted me to work security. They told me, they let me know, hey, we're switching you to security. Like I told them, like, I've never like worked security before. Like, what do you mean? Does it look like I'm the type of person that can like, do that at least, like, let alone without any training whatsoever? And they're like, oh no, like we'll show you what to do. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not going to become a licensed security guard. Like, you guys are going to train me professionally. Like, we're not going to do this the right way, is what I'm trying to say. You're just going to pretty much throw me into this. And that's pretty much it. And that's exactly what happened. Like, they showed me what to do. But eventually, like, they just, like, let me, like, I wasn't on my own, even though, again, when I was working security, there were like times, and I can count on more than one hand times that I was left to fend for myself. And since, guys, let me say this, I had like kind of a love-hate relationship with this this specific job. And actually, probably hate is like a strong word to use, because I didn't hate any of the overnight guests. Definitely not at all. Like I said, these women or these people there changed my life for the better. Like, I looked at homelessness after this experience completely differently than how I was used to looking at it. And I'm just like looking at it from, I was looking at it from an outsider before I came here. Like, I'd never been homeless before, so that was the only perspective that I could really look at it. After this experience, it just changed my life perspective, how I like saw things, especially how I looked at homelessness. I just looked at it from a completely different lens. I was a lot more empathetic, everything. So I did not hate anybody there. I did not hate the overnight guests, and I didn't hate the staff, the program people. Like, you know, they could be like annoying at best, and, you know, kind of frustrating, but that just comes with the territory, you know, like this all just comes with the territory. So that's how I view it. So I tried not to, like, I'm good at like taking things personal, but sometimes you just can't help but feel that way. But, you know, we're all homeless, like we're all going through a very difficult time in our lives. So I would like to think that a lot of that anger and frustration was not directed towards me, for whoever, like staff or whoever. But anyways, it's gonna sound weird. Everything that I did there, the 3 jobs that I had, security was my number one favorite. That might sound like crazy, and yeah, even saying that today, I wouldn't change my mind. Like, that was my number one favorite job there. And I think I did it like pretty well. Like I said, there were some people who messaged me after I left, and they were overnight guest women, and I kept in touch with just not the overnight guests, but also with people of the program, like a lot of people there, not just the overnight guests. But the overnight guests were the ones, some of them messaged me saying that I did like turn their life around. And, you know, you mostly have to do that yourself, but I could give you like the push. And, you know, I remember there were a lot of times there where, you know, they had the day room, you know, like I watched TV while I was there, like, but I didn't stay there for months or years and just like do the same thing. Like, eventually I was like, okay, you know, this is enough for me. Like, I know what this is about, and I just don't want to do this my whole life. I need to get my GED, need to get back in school. I need to do yada, yada, yada. And while I was working security, I noticed that of course, some of them had jobs. Some of the overnight guest women had jobs, and the men too. Like, I didn't say everybody was there were just like, you know, sitting there watching TV, not doing anything with their lives, but a majority of them that I noticed were. Like, a majority of people in shelters do not have jobs. Like, I don't need to look at statistics. I already know that, like, majority of people do not work at these shelters. Now, a lot of them might, but that's not the majority. Majority of are like either outside doing like non-productive stuff, like hanging around outside, which is what I saw too. If they weren't inside watching TV, if it was nice, they were outside, or even if it was cold, they were outside the building. Just like fraternizing. That's another rule. You're not supposed to, what they call fraternizing, which means you're not supposed to like have relationships or like be flirty or blah 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 with the male guests. And next to just like, that's the other thing, even though like it's good to just mind my own business and not go outside of the work duties that I have to do, and just maintain like basic structure and not go outside of that. If I were to do things differently, I would have probably minded my business a lot more. Even though I was just trying to look out as a woman, I was trying to look out for everybody on top of just like keeping structure. That's why I said I was good at my job, maybe a little too good, because I wasn't trained at this. So, I was doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. Like I was yelling at people. I was approaching them aggressively sometimes, not out of anger, just because like that's the only way I knew how to keep order, like, and I'm young doing this too. So imagine, being young and just telling a bunch of women who were my mom's age and grandmother's age what to do all the time. Like, that's not going to go over well with like some of them. So those were, some of the challenges that, like, again, came with the territory, because most other security, like I said, there was just like less than a handful of people my age, including in the program. So most of the people telling them what to do, they were like their age, like older women like them. There weren't like young people like me telling them what to do. But and I actually got that one time. Somebody brought up my age, and it was coming sooner or later. Like, they don't say that to my face, but like eventually it was coming. So my response, of course, was like, well, what does that have to do with you following the rules of this facility, ma'am? Like, what does that have to do with that? Nothing. It is irrelevant to the rules that I'm asking you to comply with. My age has nothing to do with that. You're going to get somebody else older than me, maybe a year younger than me, because you had to be at least like, what? Was it 16 or 18? Maybe 18, I don't know. But you might get somebody my age, or like, you're going to get somebody that's going to tell you the same thing. Like, age is... But I never explained myself. I just said, like, what does that have to do with you following the rules here? That's what I said. I didn't say, well, I may be like 19 or I may be 20, but like, I can still like do this and that. Like, I didn't have to prove myself to anybody at the end of the day. I was given a job to do. I'm enforcing those rules. I'm doing my job, and you have to do that, or you're going to have to leave the facility. Like, as security, that's pretty much all I have to say. Like, I don't have to prove myself to anybody, and I still feel that way too, even though like that was the first and last security job that I had. But I still felt that way, and so I still took my job seriously, and like I said, maybe a little too seriously sometimes, but at the end of the day, that's how I handled things. So let me go back to like the present situation. So with security, as far as my duties were concerned, you had to like basically like other security jobs, except like I was unlicensed, like I said. So, but it's basically the same thing you see like other security do, like just like keep the peace, keep the order, de-escalate things, like enforce the rules and everything. That's pretty much what I did. But like I said, I went above and beyond. So some of the times I went above and beyond. Like, some examples I can give you is we didn't just do, that's another thing, we didn't just do like security work. Like when we're clearing out the dorm, we had to, what was it? Well, I mean, like, mostly it was security stuff, but like I would stay, like when I was doing, okay, let me go back to the beginning of my shift. I would go into my dorm, I would get dressed, I would get ready. This was so awful. By the way, again, I'm still going to school for my GED. I am working third shift security at a homeless shelter while being homeless, while taking GED classes, preparing to eventually go to college. That is what I'm doing. And I remember most nights, once I'm prepared, I would go out of my dorm, and then directly in front of me is just right there is the desk, like the security desk stations, the front desk, right in front of the Bible program women's dorm. And we both sleep on like our dorm. We sleep on the same floor. Like, they come upstairs and they sleep in their dorm. So we're right next to each other. So when I'm not working and I'm sleeping in my dorm, most times I can hear, because I don't wear headphones or earplugs, I can hear like all the commotion going outside from the overnight guests, all the commotion coming upstairs, that dang on door, that siren, that alarm going off of the door. I can hear all of that. So it takes several hours for that to die down so I can like eventually drift off to sleep. But when I'm outside in it, like amongst facilitating everything, and we have walkie-talkies, and we had our, like I said, I have pictures of everything in my little security vest and my walkie-talkie, like, you know, taking selfies. Whether or not I was supposed to do that, I don't know. Like, I just didn't care at the time. I was like, you know, taking my little selfies. And actually, speaking of selfies, oh yeah, like I did have a phone at that time. But I had an Android phone at the time. I didn't have a smartphone, so like, yeah, because I was taking selfies on my phone. So yeah, I did have a phone at the time. So yeah, like there are pictures of stuff on Facebook in my like little work uniform and all dressed up and everything. And also like with other people, taking pictures with other people that I met there. But yeah, so I go to the desk, and now when you can like switch up with people. Like either you're at the desk or you can be downstairs. You're just not at the same spot all the time. Like you switch it up with other people. So let's say for this story time, like I'm going to talk about like me being like at the desk, and then I'm going to talk about me being like at the bottom. So when I'm at the desk, we take out like our supplies and everything. So it'd be like toiletries and stuff, and we get everything ready for the overnight guests to like come up and just like, you know, just like come up and just like get ready for bed and everything. So we get everything prepared for them. We set the pajamas and everything are set up on like racks, on like these big racks. So yeah, everything is set up on these racks. So like everything is good to go by the time they come up. They don't have to like search for anything, like, you know, to make it more convenient for them. So, because they have to go straight into the showers. That's another thing. Like you have to shower before you get into the beds, because obviously we wash all of the linen. So like everybody has to take a shower before like they go to bed. So just to, you know, not have bed bugs and everything, just for hygienic reasons, obviously. So everything's set up by the time they come upstairs. And we have security posted up at like different locations. So we have one inside of the overnight guest dorm that stays there all night, and we all stay in our like spots all night. Well, it's kind of confusing, but just like kind of bear with me, because it might be confusing at times. But there's also like a third person posted downstairs when, because all the overnight guests, they're in the auditorium. They're waiting to go upstairs for bed. That's where they wait at, is the auditorium. So you got hundreds of women down there. It's like kind of chaotic, because we have to check their toiletry bags. They're given like a clear toiletry bag, put like all their toiletries, hygiene stuff in there. They can't take up food. They can't take up weapons, of course. They can't take drinks. They can't take like anything that's not hygiene. It can't go upstairs with them. So we have to like go through their bags and everything. And again, because we're not licensed, we can't like pat them down or anything. Like it's not legal. It's not legal for us to like pat anybody down. We can only just at the most search their toiletry bag because it's see-through. So we can just like, I might ask for them to open it so I can just like kind of rummage through a little bit everything. So yeah, like if I want to see everything that's in there. But again, we have to be like time efficient. We have to do this stuff quickly because there's like 100 women and they can't all go up at once. We have to let like a certain portion go up like at a certain time. And then after they go up for a few minutes, we wait and we radio up like, okay, we're sending like the next group up, and yada yada yada, until like everybody's upstairs in bed and everything. So guys, I'm actually going to move, because as you can see, like they're gonna start like cleaning stuff. So I'm just gonna move, and I'm gonna still talk with you guys, but I just don't want to be in anybody's way. Also, this part is almost done anyways, so I'm gonna do it, because we're almost at like an hour, at 50 minutes now, because they said like they won't do this until like a couple of hours, but since they're setting stuff up, let me just like get out of their way. But yeah, so basically like that's what we had to do. And so it was pretty chaotic from the get-go. And like, okay, where am I gonna, let me figure out where I'm gonna go next. I know where to go. Well, do I? I'm gonna get out of this area. So what was I saying? Yeah, so when everybody's upstairs, and I'm just gonna do this from like different perspectives. I'm just gonna talk from different perspectives. But let me go back to let me go back to downstairs. So like I said, everybody has to go up. We need to check their toiletry bags. Of course, like there have been many occasions where I've found like all sorts of stuff that wasn't toiletries in those bags. And when that happens, I have to send them back to lockup. Now, lockup, maybe I mentioned this from when I was talking about me being an overnight guest, but lockup is like when you, it's basically when you have to, I got all this luggage, so I can't rush with this. Oh, but maybe I can, because, so basically, guys, I'm trying to film and do this at the same time, across the street at the same time. But, when I was, wait, let me get my thoughts together. So we would have to send them back to lockup. Lockup is when you have to put like all your belongings in there. Like it's basically what the name says. You have to lock all of your belongings in lockup, because, and actually, like to date, that's one of like the only shelters, one of the few shelters where you can't keep all of your stuff with you, like by your side at all times. Most other shelters, they allow you to like keep your stuff with you. And like, I don't remember what I did with my stuff. Like I didn't have a lot of stuff to begin with, but like today, that would just make me like super uncomfortable, because I like to keep my stuff with me at all times, because stuff does get stolen from lockup. Because even though stuff is locked up, people, they come in there to access their belongings, and sometimes access other people's belongings too. So that's just how it is sometimes, unfortunately. And that security, I absolutely hate it when that would happen, because like I felt responsible for that, because that was like kind of my job to prevent that from happening. But it's not my fault, but because theft, like stealing and stuff, that happens, just in like the best of situations, let alone when you're trying to prevent that from happening. So I would just like feel guilty and feel bad when that did happen. But it was kind of outside of my control, because as much as I tried to prevent it from happening, it like would eventually happen. But anyways, like everybody's stuff has to go in lockup, and you could just like take your toiletries. Like you can't take, if you had, you know, suitcases like mine, if you had like a bag or anything, like you can't take bags and stuff just like that. That small transparent toiletry bag, that is all you can bring upstairs with you. Now during the day, I think your stuff still has to stay in lockup. Like you couldn't, because you couldn't take bags and stuff couldn't take bags and stuff to the cafeteria and stuff like that. Definitely you couldn't, you know, do that. But yeah, like you couldn't take it wherever you wanted. It had to be like in lockup, and that was pretty much it. So all right, I'm gonna end this in a few minutes, guys, because it's coming up on an hour. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna do a part 4, even though like it's almost done. I'm getting into like, you know, my the different jobs that I've had, and that's like pretty much the biggest thing, because that's, you know, that's all pretty much. So by the time that I spent most there, like that's pretty much what I did for those 3 jobs. It took up pretty much all of my time there. But then I'm gonna go into like the stories of like some of the situations that I was in, some of the interesting situations I was in while I was there. So I'm gonna go into that too. So I will do that in the next part. I'm gonna get over on this side. Oh dang, I just stepped in the puddle. I'm gonna get over on this sidewalk, and I'm gonna end it here, find somewhere to sit, so I can just do this last part, depending on what my phone battery looks like. But yeah, I guess I hope you enjoyed this part, and I'll be back for part 5, I think. So yeah, bye for now.